dragged. Okay. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. The universe is over here like, girl, are you done with that? You've been asking the universe for change while holding on to something so tightly. You've forgotten that a new beginning requires open hands. Don't make the universe pry your fingers open. Respectfully, I don't think you can negotiate with this eclipse. Fix your attention span for just a second. I need a little longer than usual to explain this transit to you, bestie. So grab a coffee, grab your notes, pretend we're on FaceTime for a second or an astro class together. This is a really special solar eclipse, so I want to make sure that you fully understand the energy. Here's the thing about eclipses. Something leaves your life during this time and something new takes its place. This can be a beautiful thing or a brutal thing. And sometimes you don't even realize what's being cleared from your life until 6 months later. And then you're like, okay, I see what the universe is doing here. And this eclipse will feel like a cosmic launch point. That's because the outer planets are at very early degrees of the signs. Think about it like a movie. We're at the part where all the characters have been introduced, the setting has been established, we understand everyone's role, and now the plot thickens. Something happens that changes the direction of the story. This is literally the opening plot. So let me ask you, as the director of your life, where are you taking your story next? Really think about that and sit with that. Because what begins around this eclipse sets the tone for the next year and a half. You are the weaver of your destiny, but you also need to check in and make sure your life is proportioned correctly. Where are you giving away too much energy? Where have you been putting in too little energy? What are you tolerating that drains you? Where have you known you've needed a better path but have been procrastinating at taking it? This eclipse is telling you to update your life codes. This is a good time to redefine your self-concept. Stop tolerating that drains you. Bring forward the version of yourself that you've been doing all of this healing to become. There are pathways out of negative, energy draining karmic loops. There is that opportunity to step out of it, even if the path out isn't super glamorous. But hey, there is an exit. That's because eclipse season brings endings, resolution, and opportunities to finally step out of patterns you've outgrown. And with all this Leo energy, I want you to pay attention to your light, your confidence, your creativity, your joy, your solar plexus. These are the parts of yourself that make you feel alive. Your light will show you where to go next, which means you need to identify it, nurture it, and protect the hell out of it. Don't let anyone tell you who you are. Don't let anyone feed off your light. Energy vampires are going crazy during this eclipse. And don't dim your light just because it burns someone else. That's not your problem, babe. Let them burn. Now, eclipse season can feel incredibly dense and emotionally intense. So don't confuse an emotional reaction with divine instruction. Sit with things, detach when you need to, and don't make enormous decisions in the middle of a crash out. Give yourself time to process first. You have to sit with it and feel it to heal it. Instead, put that intensity into creativity, healing, reflection, and taking better care of yourself. At the same time, this is not the season to keep procrastinating, especially on the things you know needs to change. There's a difference between taking your time and straight up avoiding your life and your responsibilities. This eclipse requires discipline, determination, and a willingness to stop running under the same life codes when the universe clearly sends a software update. And personally, I don't recommend manifesting during an eclipse. I've been an astrologer for 7 years and I have toyed and experimented with this for 7 eclipses. I've also done 1,000+ readings and I had clients toy and experiment with this. And in conclusion, I don't recommend manifesting during an eclipse. eclipse. One thing I've noticed is anything that is manifested during an eclipse cycle typically gets removed by the next eclipse cycle. Or whatever you're manifesting comes with a lot of chaos and false starts. So if that's not in alignment with your intention, then I wouldn't be manifesting. Instead, use eclipse season for observation and release, rather than trying to force a specific outcome. Eclipse season is already an incredibly fated time. Pay attention to what's being revealed to you, what's naturally arriving, what's naturally leaving. Think of eclipse season like being caught up in a wave. Once you're in it, fighting against the water will usually exhaust you. It could put you in more danger doing that. Sometimes you have to just let the wave carry you until your feet touch the ground again. And the wave may actually place you in better conditions for creating what you want once the eclipse passes. So if something suddenly decreases, suddenly leaves, or gets removed from your life, don't immediately assume you're being punished. Like I said, sometimes contraction comes before the expansion. Sometimes an ending is simply confirmation that you cannot return to who you used to be. And I do want to acknowledge that this eclipse carries heavier symbolism, especially with Pluto being involved. This could bring up themes around endings, grief, control, and transformation. Some people may experience that symbolism more intensely than others. And if that's you, I'm sending you so much love and healing. Hang in there. This will pass. Also, people may be acting up during this eclipse. This could look like power struggles, manipulation, love bombing, control issues, people starting drama because they need everyone in the room orbiting around them. Those unhealthy dynamics become impossible to ignore during the eclipse. So if someone starts crashing out because they can no longer control the narrative, don't join in on the crash out. This is not a great time for people who suck the life out of the room through their drama. It's not going to work during this season. It's going to backfire, actually. We have South Node in Leo. This is not good for the narcissists, the manipulators, the people who need to control every single bit of the outcome, people who are self-centered in social situations. This eclipse cuts the with quickness. The South Node in Leo has no tolerance for it. Also, people are standing up for themselves. This is more favorable energy for people who are altruistic, the Robin Hood type characters. Stand up for yourself and do not be consumed by somebody else's chaos. Eclipse energy can feel extra intense, so please take extra care of yourself and your mental health during this time, especially if you are sensitive to energy shifts. Sleep, eat, get offline, go outside, journal, see your loved ones. Sometimes all we need is a snack and a really good long sleep to feel better. Lead with love, lead loudly, protect your light. Remember that a lion does not lose sleep over the opinions of sheep. Let's get into what all this means for your specific zodiac sign. Don't forget to watch for your sun, moon, or rising. Taurus, sun, moon, or rising. Let's start with the oracle card that you got. You got the card, the womb. Your foundations are getting a shakeup. If you don't loosen your grip and chill on your stubbornness, the universe is going to start pumping up the intensity. This is an eclipse happening in your fellow fixed signs. You will feel this one personally. Taurus, I also feel like you isolated yourself a bit. This is not the vibe, to be honest. You need to come out of isolation. This card is about examining your origin story. Examine your mother wounds, examine your inner child, and clear that energy out, clear that karma out so you don't pass it on to the next generation. This is a little esoteric here, but if any of you believe that the womb holds a sacred intelligence, a sacred intuition, this card is also assigned to connect with that if you have a womb. I feel like you've been ignoring your intuition regardless of whether or not you have a womb, and this card reminds you, get in touch with your intuition, hear that inner voice. I don't know where you lost trust for that inner voice, but it's time that you reconnect with it. The energy of the womb is a life-giving force, and I feel like Taurus is learning to kind of give life force to themselves. I feel like you've been giving a lot of your life force out to other people. It's kind of giving vampire energy. Simplify your life, return to yourself in any ways where you feel not like yourself, and kind of let yourself have like a rebirth moment, a little bit of phoenix energy here. I think this eclipse is exposing where have you been in survival mode, and maybe you have this call to come out of it now. And I think Taurus is having difficulty with this and clinging on to something so tightly because you're tired of preparing for the next problem. So you're like, if I just avoid the problem, then maybe it'll go away. That's not how it works, Taurus. This eclipse wants you to rewrite your life codes around safety, family, love. Learn to protect your peace instead of protecting your anxiety. Home isn't just the place that you live and the people you surround yourself with. Home is also the body and the relationship you have to yourself. Do you even feel at home with yourself? I think your career is transforming. Your definition of success is transforming. You may step into leadership roles, launch a business. Maybe you get that big girl job you've been dreaming of. Maybe you're changing careers, or maybe you're finally ready to pursue work that feels more meaningful. But I feel like what's stopping you is fear. Maybe it's fear of failure, maybe it's fear of success, maybe it's fear of responsibility, but you have to break out of that spiritual jail that fear is keeping you in. I'm also sensing the possibility of losing it. Like Taurus is so afraid of building something and putting their all into something only to lose it later. But that's like a form of self-sabotage in a way. I also think you've been doing a lot of nervous system work so that way you could actually maintain the things that you've been praying for. Keep up with that, but also give your nervous system those new experiences. You can't just be at home doing the healing work, lighting the candles, playing with your crystals and tarot cards. You got to actually take the healing that you've done and apply it to real life. I also feel like Taurus has gotten really good at being the dependable one, but this eclipse wants to show you what it's like to receive. So this could be a time where you're receiving financial support, maybe you're making investments, maybe you're sharing your resources, or maybe there's this opportunity to trust someone, maybe someone is taking care of you for once. And if you don't feel safe enough to receive, I think I would sit with that feeling and evaluate it. Like, is it coming from you, or are the people that you surrounded yourself with genuinely not safe? There's like that Ariana Grande song, it's like, this time I want to stay, or something like that, but like, will you make it safe enough for me to stay? That's kind of the vibe I'm having for Taurus. You need to look around and ask yourself, like, is this truly safe? Or are we just convincing ourselves that it's safe because we're afraid of change and transformation? You could also be breaking out of a long-standing karmic loop when it comes to your health and maintaining a job and getting into a good environment, into a good routine. So this is definitely a time to like implement some changes there. There's a lot of luck around you to implement those changes. I feel like your words right now are feisty and fiery too. I feel like you're speaking your truth. You're saying things that you've been holding in for a long time, and those conversations could shift your life direction a bit. I would also watch out for like arguing with yourself and like attacking your own mind. I always say, if you don't like the thoughts you're having, think of your mind like a radio station, and if you don't like the song, just try to change the station. You could also be learning something new, taking a course, seeking a mentor, going back to school, and maybe this prepares you to take the next level in your career. I feel like there's a lot of changes happening that isn't visible right now. There's no tangible proof, but those changes are still important. I think you're healing a lot of subconscious fears. You're closing out a lot of long-standing chapters, especially when it comes to the father wound or discipline or commitment to something long-term. Ew, I hate that this is coming out, but Taurus, the universe says, why is it so easy for you to commit to a man, but it's so hard for you to commit to yourself? Oh! Dragged. Okay. Take your healing seriously. Take your peace seriously. You got the Temperance here, and this is about rebalancing and finding peace and time healing your wounds. But you also have the Ace of Swords here. This is about making a precise cutoff. Kind of like growing a plant. In order for it to grow, you have to like prune off the dead leaves. That's what this card can represent, is you pruning off those dead leaves and like identifying them and cutting them off with quickness. Listen to your intuition. This eclipse, I think, also reminds you that you are strong. You are safe. You're not a little baby bird anymore. You are an eagle. So own that. Hi, my name is Nia. I've been a professional astrologer for 7 years. And around here, we don't just learn astrology. We use it to navigate real life. My goal goal with TikTok is to coach you through every single transit so you know what's changing, why is it changing, and how to actually work with the energy. So if you like astrology mixed with a little psychology and shadow work and an occasional call out, congratulations, you found your astrologer. And don't ghost me after this eclipse. Eclipses come in pairs, so this is only part 1. The next chapter drops on August 28th, and you definitely don't want to miss those horoscopes. Thanks for watching. Virgo, sun, moon, or rising. Let's start with your oracle card. You got the card Unseen. Your reading may be a little more esoteric than some others, but this card is about prayers being answered. It's about being divinely protected, having a bigger force out there looking out for you, whether you believe it's God, angels, ancestors, your goddesses, deities, whoever you believe is that force. I feel like some of you could also have like a past loved one in heaven looking out for you, and they're sending you messages through your dreams, through these little spiritual nudges. If it's not that, then there could be this call coming from inside, that feeling to try something, go somewhere, meet someone, do something. Trust it, you never know where it's going to lead you, especially during eclipse season. Things are very fated and destined during this time. And your planetary ruler is Mercury, who is in the sign of Leo, same sign the eclipse is going down in, so you're going to feel this one. I also feel like, Virgo, you're just done taking anyone. Like, you are just done, as you should. There's a lot of healing you've been doing behind the scenes. You've really been changing your life from the inside. This is extremely powerful. When we shift on the inside, we like change what is magnetized to us. I also think you're rewriting your life codes around peace. Maybe you're giving yourself permission to feel peace again. Maybe you're releasing shame, guilt, worry, anxiety. And healing isn't about becoming a perfect person. It's about sitting with yourself in those quiet moments, feeling the feels, and helping your body process what it's been holding on to. And that's something we do constantly. There is no finish line to healing. It's something we always do. I really think Virgos are healing the relationship that they have with themselves. There's also this energy of forgiveness. Maybe you're forgiving yourself, forgiving someone else, or someone else is forgiving you. You're also breaking out of like a spiritual jail. This was a stagnant feeling when it comes to your everyday life and routines. Maybe you sort of just felt on autopilot. Maybe you feel like your life wasn't advancing anymore. This eclipse will get that momentum going again. Definitely a time to work on your health, your habits. Make sure you're kicking any toxic habits in the butt. Let yourself rest. Like, don't wait till you're at the point of burnout. I also think things are getting a little sweeter at home. Some of you could move, redecorate, buy a house, or welcome someone new into your family. Maybe it's a pet, maybe it's a baby, maybe it's just a loved one coming to live with you. I feel like you've spent years trying to create safety and stability for other people, and you're now like being a little bit not selfish, but you're giving more of that energy to yourself. You're giving some of your magic to yourself. I also feel like your relationship to money is changing. Some of you could call in new clients, improve your finances, get on a savings plan or an investment plan. I think you're also healing your worth, your self-esteem, and having more confidence in your gifts and talents. I also think you're starting to believe that you deserve good things. I also feel like you're getting very driven and ambitious. You're calling in new dreams, new possibilities, new collaborators, people to support your work. Some of you may also be cutting off certain friends, especially if those friends have kind of been sending you some evil eye. Maybe cutting off certain coworkers or collaborators who are just not in alignment with your current dreams and goals. Trust this process of transformation that you're going through. It'll be slow and steady, but you are like slowly becoming into the phoenix. And I think you're getting more comfortable emotionally and spiritually, and that's a big deal because I feel like there's been some distress there for a while. I also think that you're supported, like you're not in this alone. There's someone here with you to share the burdens with you, to ride with you while you're in this transitional phase of life. And like I said, if it's not friends, family, and a person in real life, it's someone in heaven. And Virgo, I feel like you're letting go of like an old identity. Maybe you're letting go of certain family members, or maybe you're letting go of a mindset that was keeping you stuck, like a self-fulfilling prophecy, or a way that you viewed yourself that was making you just feel like you don't deserve what you want. And I feel like you're cracking that open and you're letting the emotions and the floodgates finally come out. I feel like Virgo's been holding on to so much, and now it's all coming out. And that leads to new beginnings, new relationships, new opportunities. This card also represents fertility and pregnancy. But I think you're opening your heart, Virgo. Like, you're learning learning to feel safe. You're learning to feel happy. You're pouring something out into this universe that is beautiful. Maybe it's a creative project or a new business or a new version of yourself. And I also think the people that you're cutting off are people who like hold you to an old version of yourself and they don't let you grow or change or evolve. The universe says it's time. So give yourself permission to grow and change and evolve, even if other people don't appreciate it, or if other people are still mad at you, or if other people see you as a villain in their story. And make sure you don't see yourself as a villain. Also, I would check to see if you are holding someone else to an old story too. All that needs to be washed away. I love this energy though. I think there's a fire being sparked. I think your spirit is being sparked. And even though there's a lot that you are letting go, that you're shedding away, you are like preparing to evolve. That's why this is shedding away. Lots of subconscious healing too. What a great time for therapy and shadow work. Rewrite that subconscious brain. Okay, thanks Virgo. My name is Nia. I've been a professional astrologer for 7 years. And around here, we don't just learn astrology. We use it to navigate real life. My goal with TikTok is to coach you through every single transit so you know what's changing, why is it changing, and how to actually work with the energy. So if you like astrology mixed with a little psychology and shadow work and an occasional call out, congratulations, you found your astrologer. And don't ghost me after this eclipse. Eclipses come in pairs, so this is only part 1. The next chapter drops on August 28th, and you definitely don't want to miss those horoscopes. Thanks for watching. Capricorn, sun, moon, or rising. You may notice that my setup's a little different, my outfit's different than the rest of the video, and that's because I recorded over a 20-minute long reading for you, and the day before the eclipse, my editor and I figured out that none of the sound captured. So I sat with your energy all day on eclipse day, and I channeled a new message for you. I took the sound not capturing as a sign that there was a better message out there for you, and boy did a better message come through. So let's get into it. Coffee break. All right, Capricorn, so intuitively I felt like facing your creativity and your philosophy around creativity is the next step to your healing. Maybe that's because you're creating a new version of yourself after having to start over or after a breakup. Maybe you're having to get creative in your job. Maybe you just need to tap into your creative energy so you can feel pleasure and fun in a healthy way. Maybe you need some of that creative energy for womb space healing if you have a womb. I don't know, but I felt that your creative energy was blocked because your philosophy around creativity needed to be shifted. There's a creator called Ian Makino. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Totally read it in like a Filipino way. Or it's maybe I am Aquino. I'll put the name of the person here. But I recently saw a video of them pop up on my For You page. And in that video, the message was something along the lines of creativity is not about giving yourself more freedom. It's about giving yourself more structure. You think restriction limits your creativity when the opposite is true. Flow state doesn't come from freedom, from things being effortless. Flow state comes through pressure, limitations, rules. But you, as a creator of your own life, decides the rules that you follow. I know Capricorn does not like authority, and that's because you are the authority. And maybe you're also examining your relationship to authority because as a little kid, if the authority figures in our life sucked, it's really hard to respect them. And then we have this belief that we don't like authority when in reality, we just didn't like the authority figures we grew up with. And that shaped our relationship to authority. But the lesson here is that your life flows through structure. You're going to be able to create the life that you want through creating structures for that creativity to flow through. Think of it like raising a child. If you give the child structure and a routine, then they're able to grow into themselves in a safer way. I Am Makino made the analogy of God creating earth. We have these earthly rules that we must follow for life to flow and exist on earth. Example, gravity is a rule. Heat and cold are both rules. Your creativity needs a world to live in. The version of you that you want to become needs a world to live in. You are creating a structure for yourself here. Also, your relationship with yourself can't be all about self-improvement. You also have to be proud and enjoy who you are. So that's another practice that's coming in for you. And one thing I channeled for you is that a reason you've maybe had a hard time enjoying who you are and why you're always so focused on self-improvement could stem from complex trauma as a child or having a really critical or judgy parent. We We internalize the way that our parents talk to us, and that then becomes a way that we parent ourselves. And then we pass that on to our children as well. So you could be a type of person who beats yourself up in your mind all the time because of this trauma. You are ready to heal from that critical parent, and you're ready to banish that internal parent who is operating like your critical parent. Who's a critical parent? Is it mom or is it dad? Whose voice is in there beating you up all the time? You got to banish that. That's part of breaking these generational curses. I feel that inner critic slows you down, or it keeps you feeling caged, and it keeps your creativity caged. This could also lead to addictive tendencies in an attempt to quiet your mind. A harsh inner critic can also create this imbalance where your standards for yourself are a lot higher than your standards for the people you date, because when something goes wrong, you're immediately criticizing yourself instead of looking at the situation from this neutral standpoint. There could also be this familiarity component. If your nervous system learned early on that love involves improving yourself, criticizing each other, anticipating someone's moods, earning people's approval, or love involves trying to be good enough for that person, then an unhealthy relationship can feel strangely more compelling and comfortable than a healthy one. All right, let's get into your astrology. We have that solar eclipse in Leo. This is one of the most transformative eclipses for Capricorn that you've experienced in a long time. This could transform your financial support. Maybe you're paying off debt. Maybe you make an important investment in yourself. You could be healing long-standing emotional wounds, doing that shadow work. Or maybe you experience a breakthrough that changes the way that you see yourself. But the eclipse is also exposing how somewhere along the way you learn that strength meant carrying everything for yourself. Your emotions, your responsibilities, other people's expectations, other people's responsibilities. Maybe that all tends to land on you and you're tired and you need help. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for support. You are incredibly strong, Capricorn, but you're also incredibly tired. And this eclipse wants you to rewrite your life codes around vulnerability, around shared responsibility, around relying on other people. Sometimes Capricorn has unicorn syndrome. You think you're the only one who can do it. You think you're the only one who does it right. So you don't let anyone else learn and grow and make mistakes and figure it out too. You'd rather just handle the problem and do it your way. But you don't have to carry every single burden on your own. And I think that the eclipse wants to show you that you don't have to do life alone. You're also changing your relationship to money and self-worth. And there's some type of like spiritual jail that you've been in here that you're breaking out of. This could be a time of money, mindset shifts. Maybe you're building new sources of income. Maybe you realize you have a gift that you can monetize and take seriously. This could be connected to why creativity is so important in this chapter of your life right now. And I feel that before your finances transform, your self-concept has to transform. Your relationship to money needs to transform. And that means learning something new, studying your financial patterns and reflecting on that and going out there and looking for how you can change that. Watch YouTube videos from financial coaches. There's a lot of free resources out there. I think you spend a lot of time identifying yourself with your accomplishments, that you've forgotten your worth existed before your resume did. You're also being rewarded for going out of your comfort zone a little bit when it comes to your spirituality, your psychology, your subconscious mind, and shadow work. This is where the biggest blessings arrive. What a good time to go on a sabbatical or a spiritual retreat or work with a coach or get a reading, anything that you feel like could help you tap deeper into this part of yourself. And this isn't a process where you change overnight or you change in one spiritual trip. Remember, this isn't about self-improvement all the time. I know we're also just learning to sort of know ourselves deeper and accept what's been going on behind the back burner. This could be a time where your intuition becomes stronger, your dreams become vivid. Maybe you feel more drawn to therapy, meditation. But I think this eclipse wants you to listen. To really listen to yourself, because there's a part of you that you have been subduing. There's a part of you that you have been suppressing, and they've been suppressed for long enough and they want to come out. I have this image of like an inner bobcat buried deep inside of your spirit, and it's like meowing at you. It's like, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. You're also closing out a long-standing karmic loop when it comes to your career. And I think you're entering a beautiful new chapter, one of recognition, permission, promotion, leadership. I think you're finally feeling aligned with what you're doing and your purpose. And at the same time, you're releasing old definitions of success and what that should look like, because success looks different to all of us. Instead of proving yourself, you're fulfilling yourself. And that's where the major change is. That's how the karmic loop is breaking. Your relationships are changing because you are. You might be attracting someone who is very different than the people you previously dated. And if some of you are in a meaningful relationship, that could strengthen during this time. Or maybe you stop repeating emotional dynamics within that relationship. Also, trust your process when it comes to rooting yourself down in your home and your family. You are building something that no one else understands. You're building that emotional foundation, not just for you, but for your family as well. And I think you're building a life that's actually peaceful. So don't invite in the chaos when it knocks on your door. You need to have that boundary. So much family healing and breaking generational curses here. I think so much more of your life is ready to be enjoyed. You're doing a really good job so far, Capricorn. Keep it up. My name is Nia. I've been a professional astrologer for 7 years. And around here, we don't just learn astrology. We use it to navigate real life. My goal with TikTok is to coach you through every single transit so you know what's changing, why is it changing, and how to actually work with the energy. So if you like astrology mixed with a little psychology and shadow work and an occasional call out, congratulations, you found your astrologer. And don't ghost me after this eclipse. Eclipses come in pairs, so this is only part 1. The next chapter drops on August 28th, and you definitely don't want to miss those horoscopes. Thanks for watching.